Hello. Um, I wanted to start this video project that I'm starting, because I wanted to kind of reflect on the reality of the situation that I've found myself in. And from what I hear, I'm not the only one in this situation, and I feel it's something I feel that needs addressing a little bit, and I don't think people quite see the reality of the situation because um you know perhaps they don't see what it's like to live a certain way for a lot, a period of time. So and I'm not so my point of view is I so I was working last year up until September, and due to uh, a setback through a traumatic experience, um, I my anxiety got worse, and I had to step back from care work because I couldn't cope with that and what I was dealing with, and so I had to walk away from work because of that. But I tried not to look at the negatives. I tried turning it around. So instead of um, dwelling on the fact that I've left a job, I decided to see, I'll declare myself as self-employed so that I can hopefully earn money doing what I really love doing, which is photography. Photography has been a hobby of mine for many years. And I've been practicing at it. I go to groups and I practice my photography with a group, and I've been trying to see if I can at least earn money doing photography within photography settings. Um, it's a lot harder than what I anticipated in terms of the expectation of what it is to be a photographer and delivering those expectations, because you have to show up with the right equipment, you have to show up with equipment, you have to know exactly what you're doing with a camera and everything, and you have to be able to um, work within the expectation of your clients, and so you might not be able to do as much creative things with your work. So it's very much working with what people, in the working sense. But as a hobby, I'm so used to doing it creatively. So there's two aspects. I want to try and be creative with it and have fun with it and enjoy it. And there's the other part where I'm trying to see if I can earn it and make money from it. And um, anyway, just to go with that, that's something I've been starting. And this is a little video project I'm starting. So um, I've been on benefits since September last year, and that's literally my sole income at the moment. I'm not earning anything extra doing photography, although I have done some photography gigs. I haven't been paid for them. It's been things I've done for free, to build up my portfolio and to get my foot in the door almost. Um, so um, and I think I want to talk about the benefit side of things as well, because I've been dealing with that reality as well as trying to build a business. And trying to build a business whilst you have a low income is a very hard it's a very difficult scenario, because where most, a business expense, for example, like buying a new camera, getting extra equipment, fixing a computer, all those things come with doing a business. But at the moment, I can barely afford food. So what's the reality? How do I get from building, how do I get to being able to afford a new camera from not being able, and being able to afford food, and this is the reality I'm trying to work out. So, and the other added issue with being self-employed, and most people who are self-employed already live with this reality as well, is that as soon as you do earn any money, your benefits lower, and of course, yes, the added bonus is, oh, you've earned whatever, but that means that you're still having to struggle because still have to pay the same outgoing bills, and you still have to somehow manage. But it also goes in your favor to report it. And I'm not saying don't report it, always report it. But what I'm saying is that it kind of, there's a lot of, so trying to build something in a business, and doing things the right way, paying your taxes, and um, declaring your income, and making sure that follow the rules as best you can, because obviously if you don't follow them, that can be worse for you than not following the rules. And so it's trying to work within the rules of what, and trying to earn money. And it's almost like a dog eat dog world. As soon as you make money, people want money. So a lot of the time you may not have a lot of money even if you've earned money. And I think that's actually, from working and being self-employed, I found that was true even when I was employed. I was earning not a lot of money, a minimum wage, but even on a minimum wage, half the time I was struggling to do certain things. I could probably barely afford food, and maybe a few luxury items every now and again. I must admit there's few luxury items I miss because I can't easily always afford getting the bus, and I have to walk places, and I have to think about where I go to because I don't always have the money to just catch the bus somewhere. Whereas before, a little bit of luxury was I was able to travel a little bit around Swindon or go out of Swindon for a bit because I had that extra little income to do those extra things. But that's not a lot. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like I was traveling to Paris or anything. It was more like I was hopping on a bus to get to Oxford for a day. And it's not, I'm not trying to, and I say this, and like, I'm on benefits. I'm a single woman. I have no kids. I have no dependents. And yet I'm struggling to find food. And, even when I was working, that was a struggle. So how is it we've gotten into a situation in this country that we can't even afford to live properly, even if we were earning the money that was coming in? Even if we were at our full capacity, we were making this, and this, we're still struggling to find a way to have a decent outcome. Does that make sense? And that's not talking, and people do this, oh, it's depending on what you buy. If you make a certain money, you're probably going to splash out on a few items. So therefore, if you're trying to cut down on spending, you have to then look at what you're spending. And I've done that. I've done exactly that. I've looked at what I'm spending, luxury items, non-luxury items, things I don't need. I don't go out drinking all the time because it's technically a luxury item. As much as I want to drink, I don't drink, because it's expensive, and I don't need it. It's bad for my mental health, but my thoughts are, that's a luxury item whenever I go out occasionally, and that's how I look at it. But even that, I've had to cut back down to I don't even drink that much anymore because it's just so expensive. And I don't really have a good time when I do drink. So it's kind of I've gone in a mind frame where I don't really drink anymore. It's a good thing. It's a good thing I don't drink, but it's just, you know, I, where once that would have been a thing I would just do. It wouldn't even be a thought. If I got a bit of money at the end of the month or whatever, that would be it. I'd, go to the pub, or you'd go out, or you'd do things with friends, or you'd have an activity. Um, but now it's the opposite way around. I have to really think about where I'm going at certain points in the month, because I may not have the money for the whole night. I might be able to buy one drink. I may only get to experience a bit of what I'm doing, and if the gig's free, I'll go along because I can get in and I can do some photography and I can do some work. And that's the other one. So as a photographer, I'm trying to photograph bands and go to gigs, and unless they're free or I know the people that are playing, the most of the time I'm going to have to pay to get in to see them. So therefore I'm having to remember the adding of going to see paid bands, and that was just that side of things. And the advice I'm getting from a lot of professional photographers is that if you are starting a business in photography, you need to have two cameras, and you need to have the right kit lenses as well. And so far, I've only got one camera and a couple of lenses. I'm having to work out how to try and be a professional photographer if I can be on the equipment I have. But it's a struggle because, again, it doesn't, it's the idea that if you have more, that you are able to be, that you can carry out the situation. And I get it's basically covering your back. If you have a second camera, um, you know, the idea is if one camera doesn't work, you can always use the other. But unfortunately, my second camera isn't another big fancy big camera. My second camera is probably my mobile phone, because that's literally all I can use after my first camera to capture events. And then people will be like, oh, you used your phone, that's very cheap, I could have done that. And you go, no, it's still not, you still have to think about, in photography, even if you use your mobile phone, you still have to think about the shot, how you took it, where you took it, all of that still comes into it. It's looking at the simplest items that you have, and still like your phone, and still getting a great image out of it. And I think, to me, it's not just having multiple cameras and knowing how to use multiple cameras, it's also knowing to use what you have to hand in the moment when you're starting out, especially if you're new. And I know that's hard, because a lot, the pressure is, oh, look at, most professional photographers will have the equipment, the things in need, and when you go to events or people will expect you to have certain equipment, and doing it on your mobile phone will not, you won't get away with. But it's just, at the same time, you have, I'm trying to work out how to go forward in a situation where I'm not able to buy equipment every day, and I'm having to work out how to get from being on benefits to earning some income, if I can, if I will, and going from there. But that's my reality at the moment, and I'm going to try and do a bunch of series about different things, because I'm learning. I'm going to places like the community fridge that do free food. So the community fridge is not quite like the food bank. The community fridge, they recycle. Well, kind of recycle. They get rid of the food. It's food that's been almost going off but can't quite be sold in supermarkets, and they give it away to the community fridge. And it's you get to go and you can pick about 5 items of each item, and you can get quite a bit of things from there, which some of them can make meals out of, not lots of meals. So it's open 3 days a week. So if you're struggling for food and you need a couple of things, it's good to go a couple of times a week. But as a main meal, it's not much. It You get what you're given, sort of thing, and that as a single person, it works fine for me. But for people who have families, or I think it's kind of one of those situations there. You need to get food where you can, especially when you don't have a lot of money for food. So getting food for free is a good thing. But at the same time, the reality is, my diet isn't as good as it used to be, because I can't just go out and make certain meals anymore. The only reason I have a decent diet is because when I do get paid, I put the money I do get for food on healthier foods, so that I'm not having to worry so much about not having meals within the month. So I try and stock up on meat products and vegetable products and things like that, or tins, so that I've got food throughout the month, and pastas and things like that. So I've got food throughout the month. But even halfway through the month, um, I've run out of certain things. So then I feel like I need to go to the food bank, because if I don't go to the food bank, I'm struggling. So, and it's not, you probably think, oh, maybe my size, I eat too much, or maybe I overfill my plate, or so, and it's not. I'm measuring things out. I'm trying to cut down on the amount of portions I have, and I'm actually trying to work out what, I'm trying to do things like as if this would be my last meal, sort of thing. I am trying to eke everything out. I'm trying not to rush sweet things, which, in the past, sweet things would be gone in seconds, but, I've still got a few sweet things in the house, and it's only because I know if I eat them now, I won't have them later, type of thing. So that's the way I'm looking at it, and it's just retraining my brain to, and it's hard because obviously, I don't know if anyone else who is plus size has that, you have your urge to want to eat chocolate, but you have to sort of curb it, because you can't just go and eat chocolate all the time, because as soon as you eat chocolate, it's gone and you don't have anything to look forward to. So it's kind of trying to eke out everything you have, and think differently about how you eat and how you make food. So this is the videos I kind of want to make, to help people cope with benefits, and maybe if there's mental health issues going on. Obviously, if it's severe mental health, talk to a professional, go to a doctor. But I've that's the situation that drove me to quit my job. I was sexually assaulted in my home, and the trauma of that triggered me. I have IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. It was bringing up issues with that, and I was getting embarrassed because it was affecting me at work. And as much as the care staff around me were doing everything they could to help me, I felt, even in the situation, I couldn't quite get myself back into the mental as and the difference from before being sexually assaulted to afterwards was quite a difference, in the fact that if I not a robot, but I felt confident. Before I was sexually assaulted, I was quite confident. I was able to manage a situation without getting anxious, and afterwards I felt like a child trying to look after a child, and that's not not suggesting who I was looking after with children, but like it just, that was the feeling I felt. And it was like I couldn't quite get my head around my own situation to try and figure, help another person. So as much as I hated walking away, my thoughts were, I can't continue in the job I'm doing because I'm not going to help anyone. And so I walked away from care, and I feel like as much as I loved care, I'm not fit enough to do care work anymore, simply because I'm not in the mindset for it anymore, because I think, after being abused a couple of times, I just think I don't want to be in a situation where that can happen, and that's it. That's the reality. But with that, I have to work out what else I can do for a living. And I mean, photography I love doing, and I love making films. But is there another avenue I haven't checked out that I haven't explored yet? Things like that. So there's those areas I'm thinking of as well. But I'm going to start trying to do videos more often, because I think that was something I started out doing when I left college. So that when I I went on to uni to try and create films, and then I dropped out of all of that to do care work looking after my sister. So it's all been a big whirlwind of what kind of things I'm skilled in. But telling a story and trying to make a difference, I think, is something that has always been a part of me. So I think if I combine my video skill making, my photography, and my storytelling, then hopefully I can create some videos that highlight the realities of living on benefits, and the reality of trying to build a business on a budget, trying to maybe there's advice other people can give me of trying to solve everything on a budget, and I might not be the only one that starts off from scratch, and there might be ways for even as a photographer to make money with what I have. And so I'm always open to ideas and suggestions. And anyway, this is my first video. I will go now. I'm going to go to the community fridge soon to pick up food, so I might do another video there. But yeah, this is my first video, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, thank you, bye. So I'm about to walk to community fridge. It's about 10-15 minutes away from where I live, so it's not far, but again, it's a bit of a walk. I'll go see what kind of items I can get. I'm not sure if I'll be able to film whilst I'm in there, because I might have to ask permission and things like that. But I'll see what I can do when I get there. But it's just, places like the community fridge are a lifesaver for people living on benefits, because if you're and I'm not saying the food, try going to the food bank if you can, because that's more of a diverse range of foods. But if you're still needing a few extra bits to make meals out of, then community fridge is a good place to go to try and get extra food if you need it as well. And it just saves money on food, really. And if you're in an emergency situation, it might just help you out. But I think this is the reality of living on benefits, is we can't pick and choose what we eat anymore. You have to sort of make do with what we can get in the moment. And that's a sad reality for most people. And I'm quite a lucky person. I don't have special diets. I'm not a vegan, or I don't, I can eat gluten. So, I'm not having to try and find extra food that's a specialist item. So I find I'm quite lucky in terms of what I'm able to eat, because I don't, I can sort of choose a few variety of things, whereas, if, God forbid, the only items at the community fridge are all full of gluten, somebody who's gluten free may not be able to get a meal because, so it's just, those are the struggles I think also come into effect in most situations. So yeah, I will stop there. Yeah, so anyway, so I came to the community fridge. I only found a few items, but it still is better than nothing. I'll show you where it is. So this is the community fridge. It's at the Baptist Church in Gorse Hill, and you can get 5 items of food for free, and it's open 3 days a week. So if you're ever needing that extra bit of food, come to the community fridge. So in reality, I only got a few things. There wasn't a lot to pick from today, so I didn't even manage to get 5 items. But yeah, I mean, I got hot cross buns, potatoes, some baguette things, or paninis, or whatever they're called, and a Monster. I managed to find a Monster, but it's just, it's not a great amount, and it's not that I'm desolate. I've still got some food in, so I can add things to it. It's just, this is the reality, of what you find sometimes at the community fridge. So, some days you get really good days and you can get good items, and other days, if you get them what you have. So, yeah, just to highlight that as an issue. Anyway, I will go now, and thank you for watching. Bye. Anyway, so yeah, that was the reality of getting food from community fridge. And yesterday I went to go get food from the food bank, so I've got some food in. I'm just highlighting the reality of trying to survive on not so much money, and it's a struggle, and I'm not trying to show off or get people to feel sorry for me. It's it was still my choice to leave work, essentially, but and it's not that I'm not looking for work elsewhere, and I'm still trying to apply for jobs and try and move on with my life. But yeah, just but I think the other thing is that I brushed a little bit on the sexual assault situation, and the other issue I'm having is I'm still on a waiting list for counselling. I've been told by an ITSWA that I should be contacted within the next couple of months. And although they say it's a couple of months, that's actually quite good, considering most people wait ages for counselling. And I've tried going to my doctors and Lift Psychology, and they said there's nothing more that they can do for me. I'm not suicidal or violent anyway, and because of that, I'm not. They don't feel like I need counselling, but in my mind, I feel like I need counselling simply because I'm not feeling suicidal or like violent or anything. I'm feeling it's dealing with the shame part of it that I'm dealing with. I feel almost embarrassed it's happened to me, and with me, so recently I thought the way to move forward was to maybe continue dating, and go on a few dates, and I thought maybe getting back into a rhythm of dating people would help me feel back to being a bit normal, like being a bit, because how do you go from I was quite confident before in myself, who I was, and I'm not saying I was overly confident. I still, I've always struggled with my confidence on some level. I've never been an overly confident person, so I get from the outset most people would think I'm an unconfident person majority of the time. But I was starting to, I felt, gain confidence in myself and who I was, and I was meeting people, I was going out with people, and it wasn't that I was just going off with anyone. People, it's I know that's probably how it sounds like when you're dating, like you just meet someone you randomly go with, and not at all. Each and every person I've met, I felt I connected with, or I had a conversation with, or that I felt I gained some sort of trust there, and that's what led to, with the sexual assault. I invited somebody I hardly knew into my home because we built up a rapport, and it was scary how quickly something went from being good to bad, just because I didn't think, because I didn't see it coming. And so and then and I know what you're thinking. You probably could do it the opposite way around. You can be cautious. You can, try and not do it the opposite way around, and do it and not, or invite somebody you barely know over. But you can, I don't think it's how the situation happened. It's the fact that it's happened in the first place. Somebody's gained your trust, and they've used that trust against you. And that's basically abuse, isn't it? It doesn't matter. I don't think it doesn't matter which kind of abuse. It's that when people try and build a trust and it's not what you think it is. And it happens quite often, and people think it's, and I've noticed some guys seem to joke about it, like it's something to take the piss out of some. It's almost like they take the piss out of people for it. And like if you fall for a guy or a person, not just a guy, but if you fall for someone who has a slightly bad situation, and you decide you might give them a chance, they turn around and do something, and it's like, oh well, you knew that I was like that, so it's okay for me to do that. And it's like, no. It's like, I have friends that will say, oh, this guy does things like that. And then I'm not saying that I don't think, oh, be careful. But if I get to know them and I've built a rapport with them, I start to think, okay, maybe it's not as bad as I think. And maybe there's a way to work this out. And, maybe it's just the situation, but there are situations where, behaviors can repeat themselves, and you find yourself trusting someone again that's gonna just hurt you. But I'm trying not to blame all guys that I've met. Not every guy I've met is that bad. It's just the guys I seem to bump into and meet and go on dates with. But I'm sure it's a normal thing. Maybe most other girls experience it, or other people, maybe guys experience it from girls. I know there's a two-way perspective on that situation as well. But like, no, just try to build a rapport and trust someone, and them not take the piss out of you, and it's really hard. And I know I'm a plus size woman, so I know not everyone finds me sexual. I know that not everyone is attractive to me, so I'm aware not everyone will want to go with me, but I felt I was attractive enough to find the right person. So it's just finding that right person. But yeah, I know. But I'm trying not to be so down on myself in finding love, because I don't I don't believe in the one true love. I don't think that's a thing anymore. I mean, years ago I used to think that way, but now I'm in that. I've fallen in love with a few people in my time, and I've gotten over most of them. So I think, I think if you hold on to the idea that there's only one out there, unless you do manage to find that one person that's your forever, then maybe obviously for that reason it's true. But I think on the most part, if you've not really truly found anyone significant in your time, then it's time to, that person's still out there. And I think you can create new bonds um, and new relationships with people. I think that's something I'm learning, is learning about relationships themselves, and building relationships with the people I'm already friends with, and talking to people, and just getting different points of view on love and life, and how everybody, different ways of going about the same situation. And anyway, anyway, so some of it's about benefits and maybe my life a little bit, but it's not all about me. And I gather I'm not the only person on benefits or in this situation. um so maybe I'll see if I can meet up with people and talk to people in the similar situations and get their points of view. But I'll see, you know, in time. If anyone wants to come and talk to me and to share their points of view of what they go through, I'm happy to hear. And we can always meet up and chat and talk about it. And anyway, I'm gonna go now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you. Bye.